Yes.
Yes, let's see.
First, let me sincerely thank and appreciate each and every one of you for breaking off from your very busy schedule to come and attend this briefing with us this morning. I know that this is a very busy period for everybody, and there's so much you could be doing now, but you have chosen to be here with us, and I'm grateful. Since after the March 18th elections, I have not had a direct interface with the press and with the public. And I decided that it was time for me to make a few comments on what has happened so far. The first thing I would like to say, of course, is to give thanks to Almighty God for life, because there are so many Nigerians who got up last Saturday to participate in the democratic exercise in this country, but they are not here today, and they are not in any position to make any comment on the election or on the country. But by the grace of God, we are alive, and then we can talk. So we must be grateful for that. Secondly, I want to use this opportunity to thank Rivers people, particularly members of the Social Democratic Party and supporters of my candidacy, who tried to come out to express their preference in what was supposed to be an electoral contest. Unfortunately, across the state, people were clearly and visibly disenfranchised. Election is not an event. Democracy itself is a process, and we all expected that the process in Rivers State will be, we don't expect it to be anything other than a Nigerian election, but at least we expected some measure of open participation in which Rivers people will be able to have an opportunity to express their preference one way or the other. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. And all the signs that there will be no democratic process or practice in the state was evident even before the elections. We continue to trust that the government of Nigeria will look at the events happening in Rivers State and make some effort to provide not a level playing field, but at least a playing field for us all as citizens of our country and representatives of our different political parties to be able to participate in the contest. That didn't happen. Intimidation, harassment, state-sponsored violence continued all through the campaigns, culminating in the elections itself. It got to a point where the entire traditional rulers in council in Rivers State were compelled to adopt as their sole candidate the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, and this was done publicly. Beyond that, all traditional rulers were further instructed or mandated to go to their different domains and compel their people that those who do not want to vote for the preferred candidate of the government should not be allowed to come out to vote. That created, of course, great voter apathy, coupled with the fact that thugs and militants across the state were mobilized to come out to warn people who did not want to vote for the PDP not to come out. actual voter turnout in several parts of the state where this was effectively communicated, particularly among the non-indigenous residents here in River State, was reduced to almost zero. This is clear to everybody who was here in the state, and those who defied the warnings, because people were told that if you come out, you will be killed, your shop, you will be driven out of the community, you will not be able to live here. Those who defied the warnings to try and come out got the beatings of their lives. They were severally beaten. In fact, in Obunabali, one Saro Kune, who merely by being present when people were being warned that those who do not want to vote for the PDP should go back, and simply raised his hand to express a contrary opinion in the presence of the PDP chieftain who was handing out that instruction, just to raise his hand to express a contrary opinion that it might be proper for everybody to be allowed to vote for any candidate of their choice. He was beaten, brutalized, and left for dead. In fact, for several days, the rumor was that he had passed. But by the grace of God, people were able to recover him and take him to the hospital, where he still is up till now in a near state of coma. This happened in the presence of the police, and the people who beat him that were arrested were released that same day to go back and participate in the election. In Alu, one Pobnem Bright, who came out to cast his vote, and it was found out that he voted for the SDP. He was beaten, his head was broken, and the video of this young man with his bleeding head and shirt was all over the place, and this happened right in front of the police. Up till now, no one was arrested, no one is being prosecuted for any of this. In several places, our agents were arrested just for being SDP agents. They were arrested, some were arrested on the grounds that their tag did not conform with their name or something. They were all arrested, even though they were the official party agents, and locked up. All true. Some of them are still being locked up as we speak. In fact, one of our agents who was going around was caught by the Commissioner of Police. And when he explained that he was a party agent, he was asked to go. On second thoughts, one of the policemen now asked him, for which party? As soon as he mentioned SDP, the CP directed that he should be arrested. He was taken to Force Headquarters. At Force Headquarters, when they took him on patrol and got back to Force Headquarters, when they got back there, people who were arrested with ballot boxes, with BFAS machines, with guns and all that were there. But all of them were released. But the SDP agent who was arrested just for being on the road was kept there all through the elections, and at the end of the day transferred to state CID. The level of violence, brutality visited on the Social Democratic Party in this state is unprecedented in the history of politics in River State. River State has always been known for violence, but the kind of genocidal violence that was meted out to groups suspected of having sympathy for the SDP or trying to vote for the SDP is unprecedented even in the history of Rivers politics. In Ahoda East, 4 persons were killed, 2 of them members of the SDP who merely resisted people who came to carry away the ballot boxes and BFAS machines. They were summarily executed. And as we speak, nobody was arrested, even though those who shot them were known. And all this happened in the presence of security agencies. Nobody was arrested. The only person that was arrested for vote buying in River State was an SDP agent. And the entire state knows that SDP did not release 1 naira shishi to anybody in this state. We did not even give money to any ward. We did not give money to any leader. We gave no 1 naira to anybody. But the only person that was arrested for vote buying was a member of the SDP. People were carrying tons of cash around. Bags and trailer loads of wrappers were freely being shared. Nobody was arrested. The only person who was arrested for vote buying in Rivers State was a member of the SDP who had not 1 naira even on him as a person. But he was arrested. As we speak today, all those, the only INEC staff that was arrested for rigging elections or for electoral offenses are those, the person who stood up when they wanted to change her result. And she said, SDP won in my unit. Oh, just that word, that the entire people were arrested and taken by the police. They are the people that committed electoral offenses. But everybody in this state knows that there was no collation in Ahoda West. And the collation for Ahoda West was done at the INEC headquarters here, upstairs, by people who were not collation officers. Nobody was arrested. Videos of council chairmen cutting away election materials are all over the state, all over the country. Nobody has been arrested. But SDP members, some of them were even arrested before the elections, over 100 of them. Everybody else in the state has been released, except members of the SDP. They are the ones to be transferred to INEC as electoral offenders. I have said before that those who have power of violence and continue to think that the rest of the population are nothing but beating drums for them and their power should remember that this kind of conduct in our country can only breed resentment, hatred, disenchantment, disillusionment, and in its later stages, it will inflict on the society some of the things that we all know that we do not need. I don't think that this is the way to go. I have seen some document circulating in the media that Senator Abe congratulated the winner and said that he did not contest to win. I decided that certain things do not even deserve a response. Everybody who is in Rivers State saw what happened here. We all know what happened here. I would say that I still continue to have faith in Nigeria. I will consult with members of our team. We will look at the situation holistically and decide on our next steps. But for me, I want to appeal to all Nigerians. We have no other country but this one, and it is our responsibility to fix our country and make it better. It is not a task on which we can give up. And no matter how good the country is, we can still make it better. And no matter how bad it becomes, it is still our responsibility, while we are alive, to still struggle to create a better community for all Nigerians. I want to say that some of the things that happened in Rivers State during these last elections are capable of inciting division, hatred, and violence amongst us here as Rivers people. But that will not be the way to go. We must, as much as possible, remember that these things are acts that are perpetrated by single individuals. There is no question of Ikwere people targeting Ogoni people and all that. That is not correct. These are actions of single individuals. Ogoni people were clearly disenfranchised in this last election. They were not allowed to vote. All the votes that they voted, as soon as people finished accreditation, particularly in Thai local government, all the materials were carted away. And in a lot of places, thumb printing is still going on even as we speak. to match figures that have already been declared. Nigeria can do better. I want to use this opportunity to really, really sincerely thank members of our party. Your courage, your commitment, your determination, even in the face of unprecedented physical danger and violence, is something of great joy and encouragement to me as a person. I want to enjoin all of us, appeal to all of us, not to be deterred. As long as we draw breath, our commitment to building a better society by whatever means and opportunity that we'll have remains unshaken and unshakable. Ignore whatever you see going on. Maintain the peace. Those who want to do anything to try to express their discontent, I would appeal that let us allow the situation to take its course. I believe that it is not only Rivers people that saw what happened in Rivers State. The entire country saw it. I want to appeal to the police. If murderers did not commit electoral offenses, if people who came out to carry ballot boxes did not commit electoral offenses, if all these people did nothing wrong, why is it that members of the SDP for wearing wrong tags will be the ones to be prosecuted in Rivers State? Nigerians must ask questions, because these people are public officials who are being paid from public resources. You cannot serve one person to the detriment of the entire country. If these people are unjustly persecuted as they are being by the police, it will create disaffection in this state that will be difficult for all of us to control. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you very much. First of all, I don't know what you call elections in what happened here in Rivers State. I don't know how anybody who understands the principles of democracy and democratic participation can describe what happened here as an election. I don't see how that qualifies. But I am the candidate of a political party. The party is still going through its processes. The party will meet and take a decision on how to respond. But I know that the process of an election is to determine the popular choice of the people. And I don't think that what happened in Rivers State here meets that criteria. Yes? Yes.
All right, sir. You took time to tell us about a lot of members who were harassed and arrested. But as of today that we speak, I want to know if you have, I want to know what steps the SDP has taken to secure the release of these persons. If you've taken these steps, what has been the response from the police who are said to be in custody of these persons? Then secondly, you were not clear and specific in your response to the issue of Senator Magnus.
Somebody who is congratulating anybody.
I mean, for that headline.
How can that be a headline? I didn't. My press secretary has come out clearly to say that I had nothing to do with that. How do I respond to something I don't know anything about? The person who wrote it should go and answer it now. It didn't emanate from me. Is there anything I'm saying here that is in tandem with what you saw there? And again, all of us should be careful how we spread fake news. I have official channels through which I communicate, my verified Facebook page, my press officer, press releases, emails. You know, that did not emanate from any of our sources. I was surprised to see it being spread by people who ordinarily should know better. You know, so clearly that statement did not emanate from me. Yes.
Radio Nigeria.
Any other? The first question I asked about what steps you've taken to secure the release of your persons?
Yes, we have contacted the police. Initially, they were going to release them, but after the Attorney General of the state went there last night and instructed them not to release any member of the SDP, everything changed, and they said they're taking them to court. So it's clearly on the directives of the state government, because these are innocent people who have actually done nothing. All those who actually committed electoral offenses visibly to the entire state, none of them have been arrested. Those who killed people, none of them are arrested. You know, those who beat up people, destroyed things, beat up people, everything people wanted to do on Saturday, they did it freely. Not one person was arrested. Even those who were arrested were released. But only members of the SDP are the ones that are being targeted by the police. And we have complained to the police. I have called the AIG election. I reported it to him. He said he gave a directive that these people should be released, but the directive was not obeyed. So there's nothing else we can do, but we have informed our lawyers and they're on standby. You know, but this is clearly a witch hunt, and I want the whole country to be aware of that.
Gentlemen.
Of that congratulatory letter is the River State government. Because if you read the letter and you listen to the governor's broadcast, they are one and the same thing. They are one and the same thing. So they are the source of the letter, and they are the source of... if I was not ready for election, the night before the election, the governor made a broadcast. Out of the whole people that he declared wanted, over 70% of them were from Ogoni. So if I wasn't ready for election, why was he targeting Ogoni? Everything they did was done to ensure that Ogoni people were disenfranchised. If you see in Kana, all the ballot papers were mixed up. Everything was done. At the end of the day, the total votes in Kana was less than 6,000. And I'm not ready for election. Every target in this whole exercise, the police came here, their only target was to destroy the SDP. Our members were being specifically targeted and arrested all across the country, all across the state, on the instructions of the governor. So when you finish doing all that, you say that we're not ready for an election. If those who want to know if people are ready for an election should allow an election to hold. When you allow an election to hold, then you will know those who are ready for election and those who are not ready for election. You cannot lock up the entire state by violence and then say people are not ready for election. What are we supposed to do if we're ready for election? Is it not for people to come out with their PVCs and present themselves at the polling units? Where in River State could people, ordinary people, peacefully go and present themselves at the polling unit to cast a vote for a candidate of their choice? So those whose responsibility it was to the same governor that was harassing traditional rulers for receiving candidates of other parties on courtesy call was the one who directed the entire Traditional Rulers Council of the state to adopt one candidate. And everybody must go home and implement that adoption. All the chiefs had to go home and get their people to beat gong and all that and seize materials and all that. Where did that happen? Where did the local government chairmen get the tons of security men? Some of them were going around with 6 to 7 helices loaded with soldiers and police, moving from place to place, cutting away electoral materials. How else do people prepare for election? Is it not for people to come out with their PVCs and go and vote? So I think that those who have done what they have done can at least respect the peace of the state by making sure that their comments do not further inflame those who are already offended. All the thousands of non-indigents who were prevented in town here, one of the leaders of the Hausa community came out to vote, and he was almost beaten to pulp. I had to send money to plead with the boys who said they had instructions that nobody from no non-indigent should be allowed to vote, except they first say where they were going to vote. What kind of, have we ever seen that kind of election in Rivers State? How was I to prepare for that kind of election? I should hire my own thugs and buy my own guns and get my own police or get my own army. How am I to prepare? What a serious candidate should do for an election is what I did. I got on the ballot, I campaigned, I spoke to people, I convinced them that if they work with me and we vote together, they could have a better life. And people believed it. You know, the only way to test that is to have allowed everybody to freely come out and press their hand on the kind of future that they want for Rivers State. It's not for people to come out and start saying that they had decided who will come first and who will come second. I've already been told that I will come third. Everybody in Rivers State knew that that was the story. So what is new in what we're saying? Nobody should insult other people's sensibilities. Power is transient and power is temporary, and all of us will discover that. My appeal to those who are in power is that however you got there, try and do the right thing while you are in power. Let us make our country better. That's not a favor to Senator Abe or to anybody. Proper conduct of our public affairs is not a favor to any individual. It is for all of us, including those who have power today, because tomorrow they will be the ones complaining when they are out of position, forgetting that it is their own actions while they are in power that enables and emboldens others when they are also in power to do the same. So somebody must break the circle. Somebody must break the circle. It doesn't matter how, but somebody must get there and do the right thing while you're actually in office. That's what this country needs, and that's what this country expects. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thanks for checking out SYMFONI on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.